Hello and welcome. So I'm here today with the ASUS ROG Ally. This is the latest in the series of handheld console style gaming PCs that have come onto the market in the last 2 years or so since the Valve Steam Deck made a big splash. So this is basically taking PC gaming away from the PC, if you will, and taking it into more mobile form factor. So this is fantastic development. I think this is really taking PC gaming to the next level. However, there's a long way to go here, and I think there's much more possibilities that are going to come in the future. But that said, we have arrived now at a place where I think you can take this game with you, or take this device with you, and end up taking the game with you as a result. So in this video series, what I'm going to do is cover everything that I've experienced with this device for the last 2 months. I've extensively tested the crap out of this device. I've looked at different types of games, played all different genres of games to tell you which one is the best one to play, what is the most enjoyable experience, which types of games this is suited for, what things to watch out for, including earlier issues with drivers, games crashings, or game just booting up into a black screen and only hearing audio. Most of that seems to have been resolved now. There's still a few quirks and issues here, but overall a pretty good gaming experience. So in this mini series, starting with this one, we'll look at an overview of the device. Then in the next video part, I'll talk about the Armoury Crate Special Edition software and the ROG Command Center here, which can be toggled from this hot button here. And we'll go into how you actually configure this drive, how you actually game, what that gaming experience is like, before we jump into some gaming performance and benchmarks and that discussion. Including, I'll also talk about how you can actually use this in a docked mode to have a laptop replacement, essentially. Since this is an 8-core, 16-thread APU, this is a very capable device. And because of this form factor and some black magic that AMD has managed to conjure up here, you can actually use this, and even with the fans blaring, it cannot even touch, it's quieter than the quietest laptop, I can say, in a gaming mode. So that said, it's been an overall great experience. Let's quickly go over an overview here before this video gets far too long, and then in the other segments, we'll talk about different aspects of this video. So stay tuned, get subscribed to my channel, and keep in mind that all of these devices and everything that's on my channel comes from my pocketbook. So a subscribe is very much appreciated, and please share my content and like my videos if you enjoy this content, so I can continue to keep bringing you more of this content. All right, so here we go. We've got here 2 joysticks akin to any basically console controller, and we've got a D-pad here. They feel very nice. They've got these light rings here, which can be controlled from your Aura Sync as well as Armoury Crate and the Aura lighting configuration. Xbox style here, we've got 4 controller buttons, A, B, X, and Y. Should be very familiar to a lot of different people. And then we've got 4 buttons here that are for dedicated functions. So these top 2 buttons can be mapped in-game to particular functions. Usually the right one maps to a menu, and this one I've seen mapped to an in-game map a few times. But they are configurable, and I think there's settings for different games, different profiles, which can be configured in the Armoury Crate to map these for different functions in games. We've got up here dual array microphones. Your in-game chats are actually going to sound pretty decent, and you can actually do in-game chat without video while you're playing. And at the bottom here, we've got 2 Dolby Atmos tuned speakers, and these sound absolutely fantastic. They get loud enough, they're clear enough until maybe the top 10% of the volume stack, but otherwise it's very enjoyable to game with this. You can easily sit outdoors, and with the natural ambiance and noises in nature, have your PUBG or your Fortnite session while you're poning some noobs. So that is totally possible. All right, let's look at the top of this device here. Oh, and before, the star of the show, let's not leave it out. So this here is a 7-inch diagonal 1080p 120 Hz AMD FreeSync Premium touch display. So it definitely gets the job done in terms of gaming chops. Zero complaint. It gets bright enough, and it gets, very vivid in terms of colors. It's not an OLED. That would have been a nice to have, since we've got now in the the Nintendo Switch OLED, but I think this does a fantastic job, and we don't have any major downsides here. Looking at the top of this device, we've got some ports and also some shoulder and trigger buttons. We've got left button and a left trigger, then a right button and a right trigger. And these feel pretty good. I don't know if you can hear that on the sound overhead, but they feel pretty good. They're not haptic, or they're not multi-stage like we have on the DualShock 5 from Sony on the PlayStation 5, but they are still very good. Looking at the port situation, we've got a microphone headphone combo jack, a micro SD card slot, an XG mobile adapter port. So this is a proprietary plug for ASUS, and they provide an external docked GPU which plugs in directly to the PCIe Express bus on this device to give you a lot more boost and horsepower for your gaming needs. We've got then the charge port, which also doubles as a USB 3.2 Gen 2 port. That's 10 gigabits per second, so you can easily plug this into a dock and have everything connected so you can play in a docked mode. We'll be covering that in a separate dedicated video. We've got a volume rocker toggle here, a battery charging light indicator, a power on indicator, and a power button with an embedded fingerprint sensor. So biometric authentication is definitely on board. When you boot this device from a cold boot, you have to press and hold for a few seconds until you hear a vibration and the ROG sound comes on. That means it's stored the fingerprint here, so it will directly log you into Windows, which is fantastic. You can get into your gaming experience that much sooner. And we've got two vents here for exhaust. The intake is, these are the intakes for the device. We've got two fans in here, so they draw in air through here and exhaust up the top. So at no point in time will your hands be getting sweaty or you'll get, sweaty palms. This device stays in the low 50s to sometimes, I've seen it touch 60, but here and there. And even with the fans in the default profiles, which does not ramp them up to 100%, we'll be talking about performance in a separate video, but overall, very, very good experience. I'm very, very impressed with this device. And we've got two macro buttons, which are also like paddle buttons on the Xbox Elite controllers. These can be mapped to particular functions. By default, they are baked in with some functions to allow you to quickly toggle the keyboard, Windows Task Manager, etc. Very nice to have. Look those up if you buy this device. They will save your life when you're in a game and all you have is a black screen. In addition, this device has a PCIe Gen 4 SSD, which is upgradable, and you need to undo these 6 screws, remove the back cover, and you can slot in a new Gen 4 SSD of the 2230 variety, which is a 30 millimeter length. Those devices are a little bit harder and more expensive to come by. However, a 1 terabyte capacity is not that uncommon. Beyond that, things start to get a little bit prohibitively expensive, but it is what it is. And from here, as I mentioned, we have a quick toggle for all of your ROG Command Center stuff. You can toggle through the different performance modes. So 10 watts for silent, 15 watts for performance, and finally 25 watts for turbo. However, if you're plugged in and playing with the device being powered, it can push up to 30 watts if you toggle all the manual overclocking settings in Army Crate. I'll be talking about that in a separate video. I think that's all I have to say for now for the overview of this device. If you have any questions or things you'd like to see, leave them in the comments below and I'll try to address them. Keep in mind this is going to be a video series. I'll be talking about lots of aspects of this device, the gaming experience, dock mode. Is it a laptop replacement? Can you use it as a desktop replacement? And all kinds of other options here. So stay tuned for this series. Please get subscribed. And if you like this content, please share across your social media to help grow this channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.